Shalom. This week's Parashat Shoftim, is a beautiful Parashat with many, many fascinating mitzvot. We find something interesting, though, in the very beginning of the Parashat. Over the last few weeks, a mitzvah seems to be speaking in the singular, and then yet the pasuk continues in the plural, or vice versa. It starts speaking in the plural, and it ends up in the singular. For instance, we say, you should teach your children, plural, when you singular sit in your home, in your place, when you walk. We're speaking to many, plural, b'neichem, here we say the singular. Last week's Parashat Re'eh. Re'eh, look, singular. I'm giving before you, plural. These aren't mistakes. There's a reason for each one of them, and no time to go into all of them now, but it's fascinating. And this week we found something similar. Shoftim v'shotrim titein lecha. You should appoint judges and magistrates b'chol shorech in all of your cities, all your gates. And it's obviously speaking about we, the Jewish people, should appoint judges. And yet it says Shoftim v'shotrim titein lecha, singular. You should appoint judges. You, singular. Now, individuals don't appoint judges. So what does this mean? So many Mefarshim point this out, and they all say more or less the same idea. The Torah is not just telling us the mitzvah of every community to appoint a judge, judges, courts. It's telling us as individuals, lecha, each one of us has to realize that we're also judges. We are always judging. And so the Torah is telling us, you, shotim tein lecha, when you're judging, tzedek tiradov, pursue justice, lo tikach shochad, don't take a bribe. Now, how can an individual take a bribe? Well, obviously, again, we're judging all the time. We're judging people. We're judging situations, decisions to be made. Should we or shouldn't we? Concerning food, clothing, trips, what to say, what not to say. How do we decide what to say? Well, usually, if there's an interest, we think about something. If there's no interest, we don't think about it. If there's an interest, well, we're not objective anymore. How can you judge if you're not objective? You have to try to be, and of course you can't. And so the Torah warns us, lo tikach shochad, don't take a bribe. A bribe isn't just something offered to a magistrate. We're saying, the Torah is telling us as individuals, don't you take a bribe. Be understanding that when you make decisions, you could be affected by things which will taint your objectivity. Don't take bribes. Ask yourself, why do I want to do that? Why am I going there? What's motivating me? Am I doing the right thing, or is it a decision I'm being made because of a desire, sometimes subconscious, sometimes very conscious? It's very, very difficult to be honest with yourself. And of course, how can one do it? There's only one way. You have to have a good friend. You have to have a good teacher. You have to study religiously, regularly. And that, of course, is what school's all about, which I'm looking forward to seeing you again in a few short weeks. But it's another little thought about the Shochad. The Gemara in Ksubis talks about accepting bribes, and it tells us of great Chachamim who, over minor things, excuse themselves from sitting in judgment. The Gemara tells us about Avimi. Someone walked by and noticed that he has a feather in his hat, in his hair. He moved the feather, and Avimi recused himself from being a judge in that case. The Gemara tells us Shmuel was once getting off a ferry, and someone gave him his hand, told him to step out of the ferry, and Shmuel felt that he might be biased, and he again refused to sit in judgment on the case the man brought to him. The Gemara gives another few examples, minor things. And so the question asked Rav Pam, actually, the great Rosh Yeshiva of Torah Das, one of the leaders of the Jewish people after Moshe Feinstein passed away in 1984, I believe, very special man. He asked the question, he says, are we so fickle that we're afraid because someone said to us good morning, or removed a feather from, or a thread from our jacket, or held the door for us, that we'll be influenced to judge on their behalf, possibly unfairly? Is that what the Torah is trying to tell us? Rav Pam says no. Rav Pam says the Torah isn't stressing the power of a bribe. The Torah is stressing the power of the obligation to appreciate what someone does for you. The Torah is stressing how important Hakarat HaTov is, and how the sense of obligation can color your judgment. Hakarat HaTov, appreciating what someone did for you. Hakarat HaTov is a principle of Judaism. Every morning we get up and say, thank you, God, that I can open my eyes. Thank you, God, that I can stand Zokei Kefufim. Before we eat something, we say, thank you, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, thank you, God, for giving me the ability to eat this, and for giving us this fruit. When we go to the bathroom, thank you, God, for giving me a system that can keep me from being destroyed by poisons from food that I eat. When we see the first flowers every springtime, thank you, God, for making such a wonderful world. Hakarat HaTov is what Judaism is all about. And if a person is Makir Tov, if a person appreciates good things, well, you have a happier life. You appreciate everything you have. If you don't appreciate it, nothing makes you happy. And so the sense of obligation, how if this person's done something good for me, I have to appreciate it, that's what concerned the Chachamim. And they felt they may bend over, they may be tainted in the judgment because this person had done something good for them. Just a quick story, fascinating story about a Hakarat HaTov. Everyone's heard of Rav Kook, of course. I have these pictures behind us up there. And Rav Kook made Aliyah in 1903. But in 1900 or so, he was around 40 years old, he went for a few days to the Baltic coast in Latvia. And it was a pleasant place for the summer vacation. And there was frequented also by a great tzaddik called Reuven Bengis, who also made Aliyah, went on to become a political opponent of Rav Kook, but they remained very great friends and admirers. And Rav Bengis needed a minyan. He had to say Kaddish, he had Yurtzat, and so on the porch they got together, they were trying to get together 10 people, they only had 9, and so Rav Bengis stepped into the building, and he saw a number of people there, so he called one man out to be the 10th person, not realizing that that man was part of 10 for a minyan for someone else. Well, the man comes out, and that person who needed the minyan comes yelling and screaming, what do you think you're doing? I worked hard for minyan, I'm a chiyuv, I have to say Kaddish, how dare you? And he's screaming and carrying on. Now, Bengis is a sweet person, he had no ill intent, and he's a great Talmid Chacham as well. And this man is carrying on, so Rav Kook went over and said, what are you doing? Stop it. The man refused, so Rav Kook slapped him in the face. And he stopped. Everyone was shocked, but the man, in shock, moved away. And there, Rav Kook felt he did the right thing, of course. A few days later, he receives a summons to come to court. He's being charged with assault by this man. And some people said, Rabbi, Rav Kook, just apologize, it'll drop the court case. And Rav Kook said, no, to humiliate another person, especially such a fine, such a tzaddik, such a person we all admire, no, I did the right thing. Well, shortly afterwards, word came that the man had dropped the charges. That was the last Rav Kook heard of it, he thought. 22 years later, Rav Kook's in America. He's visiting to raise money for the yeshivot institutions in Eretz Yisrael, then called Palestine, unfortunately. And he's in a shul, at a meeting or whatever, and a man approaches him and says, Shalom, Shalom, Rav Kook. You probably don't remember me. Rav Kook looks, no, he doesn't. He said, well, I'm the man who you slapped in Latvia 20-something years ago, and I have to thank you for what you did. What do you mean? Well, after you slapped me, I was humiliated. And I said, I'm going to get you. But then my family, my friends said, what are you doing? You were wrong. And Rav Kook, he just sued the great Rav Kook. And before you knew it, I was ostracized. People wouldn't talk to me. They said, he's the man who yelled at Rav Bengis. He's the man who wanted to sue Rav Kook. And out of humiliation, I left Europe. And that really saved me. And I came to America, and I'm now a very wealthy person. I've been very successful and happily married. And I owe it all to you in that patch. And so when I heard you were here, I went out, and I brought you a gift to thank you, Hakarat HaTov. And I gave a beautiful gold watch. Kind of different, but Hakarat HaTov. Have a wonderful Shabbat. Looking forward to seeing you all soon. B'karov. Bye-bye.